So as you can see here, we've got a fairly dirty tank. You can see there's algae growing on the glass. There's a lot of food debris and particles in there, in the gravel. And it's also just time to change the water in it. So in this video, I'm going to explain to you guys how to basically clean and maintain an aquarium. So some of the basic things you're going to need to clean and maintain your aquarium. First off, you're going to need this siphon hose to suck the gravel or suck the debris out of the gravel. And I'll show you how that works later. I'd also recommend using this dechlorinator. It removes the harmful chemicals and heavy metals from the water that comes from your tap, and you're going to want to add some of that in there so you don't kill your fish. As far as the filter goes, you're going to want to clean this out. I usually take an old toothbrush and I'll scrub out all the algae. I'll take it apart and clean out all the little individual parts and pieces. And then you're going to want to replace the cartridges. And either you can buy the cartridges, the carbon cartridges for this, and replace them. Or you can do what I've done and get this nylon bag, and I fill it with this activated carbon here. I recommend cleaning an aquarium about every 2 weeks, so twice a month. And you don't necessarily need to change the carbon or the carbon cartridge in that same interval. Usually that'll last sometimes around a month. It really just depends. I usually replace them about once a month. In your filter, you're also, in addition to the carbon cartridges or the carbon bag, you're going to have this, basically it's a biological bacteria growth media, and all your beneficial bacteria is going to grow on here. When you clean this out, you don't want to use tap water. Use aquarium water that you suck out of the aquarium, because if you use aquarium water, you're going to kill all that beneficial bacteria that's in this filter media, and then you're going to lose your biological filtration in the aquarium. As far as the decorations go, you can leave them in and work around them if you want. Sometimes, depending on how many you have in there, that's the best way to go about it. Or if you want to, like I do with this aquarium, because there's not many in there, and it's all fake plants, I just go ahead and remove them, and then I'll put them back in once I'm done with the cleaning. It makes it easier with the siphon tube to get into all the nooks and crannies. It's also a good idea when you're draining the water out to unplug your heater. If the water drops below the minimum level or water level for the heater, you could burn out the heater. Also, turn off the or unplug the filter on the back so that you don't run that filter pump dry. After you get all the decorations out, you'll really notice how dirty the water really is, or how dirty the gravel is, because you'll start digging up all the particles and the fish waste and excess fish food that's in there. The next thing you're going to do is use the siphon tube to vacuum the gravel. Now how this works is, how a siphon works is you're going to basically use gravity and suction, and you just start the siphon by getting the water to run through the tube. There's two ways to do this. With this tank being underneath, it's kind of hard to do the easiest way, which is you fill the actual siphon tube here with water, and then you're going to bring it up filled with water. I can't really show it to you here. And let it run down the tube. And now you need to put this back into the water before this cylinder completely drains down the tube, or else you won't get any suction. And because you've created the suction, it's going to keep sucking the water through as long as there's no air in the line. Another way to do it, and the way I'm going to do it here, is you put your mouth on here with this tube in the water, and you just suck on this until the water starts to come out, and then you're going to put that into your bucket. And the trick is not getting any water in your mouth. And when you're vacuuming the gravel, you do need to kind of watch out for the fish so you don't suck them up. Although with this tube up here being so large, the suction's not that much, and usually the fish will get out of the way. So you don't have to be super cautious with it. Just be careful and keep your eye on it. And before you dump the bucket of water out you drain this water into, take a look, make sure there's no fish in there. But they're pretty good about staying out of the way. So I'm going to get the siphon started, and then you'll see how to vacuum the gravel. You're just going to want to slowly kind of dig down into the gravel, move your way along, and you're basically just getting all the dirt and debris and fish waste out of the gravel. And while you're doing this, you want to keep an eye on the water level. You don't want to take too much water out. At maximum 40 to 50%, but I would really recommend doing only about 25 to 30% of the water getting drained out. Just because you don't want to add too much new water, because then you're going to start the whole cycling process over again, and you're going to get algae blooms, and you're not going to have as much of the beneficial bacteria in the water that you need to help keep the ecosystem clean. And don't worry about getting every little bit of the dirt out of the gravel. It's impossible. You're never going to get it all. So just do a decent job of going around the whole perimeter of the tank. And that's basically it for vacuuming the gravel. And in this aquarium, I have a lot of baby guppy fry. So I'm just going to make sure in this bucket of the dirty water I have that there's no baby fry in there before I go ahead and dump it out. And as you can see how much actual dirt and grime and waste is actually in that water. So the next thing you're going to do is use a clean cloth, and I'd actually probably recommend one of those glass magnetic algae scrapers. I don't have one of those, so I'm just going to use a clean cloth to scrub off the algae. Make sure this cloth hasn't been run through the washing machine where it has detergents and other soap and other different things in the material that could bleach or bleed into the water and harm the fish. And basically all this is just scrubbing the glass to get the algae, excess algae off the sides. Ideally, you probably should have done this before you vacuumed the gravel and drained some of the water out, just because a lot of this is going to end up in the water. But I didn't, and it's not that big of a deal for this tank, because this is just a 10-gallon tank and just a little breeder tank. But you just basically go around all the walls or all the sides of the glass and scrub off all the algae, or as much as you can, and that's just going to help the look of the tank. So now to clean out the filter itself, you're basically going to take it apart. Pull the cartridge out. This is your carbon cartridge for this one that you'd replace, or like I said, use the bag. Then you're going to pull this out. This is the propeller here that the motor spins. I'd go through with an old toothbrush and just kind of scrub all this stuff clean and run it through the water. And then you're going to have the inside to scrub out and clean. And you can also clean the motor if you just twist this off. It's kind of hard with one hand, but you twist the motor just to the point where it'll slide out. I'll show you when I get it out. But that just comes out. You'll scrub around in there a little bit, make sure it's clean. And like I said, with the actual filter cartridges and your other inserts, don't wash them with the tap water, because that's going to kill any beneficial bacteria you have in there. So use the old aquarium water to rinse those out. And you don't need to really scrub them too much. Just get the excess surface debris off of them. So with this filter, it came with this carbon pouch, and it originally had carbon already in it, and this is like what the replacement cartridges you would buy at the store for the particular filter you're using. I've gotten rid of the carbon in there, and now I just use this to capture and grow my biological media or my good bacteria. And what I do for the carbon then is I get these little nylon bags, and you can usually get these at any pet store or fish store. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill that bag up with this big bottle of carbon that I've got. And then it makes it easier and it saves a little bit of money in the long run than buying the new cartridges for it each time. And I'll just fill this up, tie it at the top, and then stick it down in here full of the so the next step is you're going to get your water ready. You're going to want to make sure that the temperature of the water is within about 72 to 85 degrees. That's for any fish tank. So make sure it meets or is close to what's the temperature in your aquarium now. I would recommend putting a thermometer in here and testing it, although I've done this so many times now that I can pretty much get it close, and I've tested it previous times, tested my guessing, and I'm pretty close most of the time. So now you're going to want to add the water conditioner, and this is, like I said, going to take the chlorine and heavy metals out of the tap water. And it says to add about 1 drop per gallon. And you don't have to be too precise, but you don't want to add too much because it can be harmful to fish in extremely high concentrations. So once that's in the water, just swirl it around a little bit, and then you're going to add the water to the aquarium. You can do this one of two ways. You can use the siphon pump and siphon the water or suck the water back into the aquarium with that tube. That's probably the best way to do it. Or if you're really careful, you can just dump the bucket of water in the aquarium, although I wouldn't recommend that. It's going to stir a lot of stuff up and cloud the water up a little bit more. And it's a little bit more stressful to the fish. And if you do it that way, where you just dump the water in from the bucket, do it really slowly. So another thing you're going to want to do with the carbon filters or the cartridges, or if you're going this way with the nylon bag and the carbon or the activated carbon granules, you're going to want to rinse this stuff out, even with the cartridges, and I'll show you why. You can just see all that black dust and everything coming out of there. You don't want that in your aquarium. And ideally you don't want to use tap water when doing this, although I'm doing it and it shouldn't give you much problem. But just rinse it really good. You rinse it for a couple minutes and get all that dust out of there before you put it into the actual filter. So after you've added the water, go ahead and plug your heater back in and start the filter. And remember, you never want to start the filter dry, so go ahead and fill the back of the filter up about halfway with water, and then when you plug it in, it'll start pumping out the water on its own. You'll hear it when it's done. And that's basically it. That's how you clean an aquarium, and you'll notice it is still a little bit dirty. The water looks really cloudy, and there's a lot of debris floating in there. Don't worry, that's normal. And after about 24 to 48 hours, once the water's cleared, it should look more like my 29 gallon. As you can see, the water in here is just crystal clear. And I'll be showing you how to clean this one next. This one's a little bit different because I don't just have gravel on the bottom. I actually have a layer of organic potting soil underneath because this has live plants in it. So the gravel vacuuming doesn't really work in this because I don't want to suck up a lot of that dirt and have that cloud up the tank with all the soil and dirt in there. And on this one also I have a canister filter, and I'll be showing you how to clean that out, and that's a little bit more complicated than the hang on the back filter. So stay tuned for that. I'll have that up in a few days after this video is uploaded. So this is the aquarium about 12 hours after I cleaned it. As you can see, it's pretty much all cleared up. I know I said 24 to 48 hours, and sometimes it can take that long, but this got cleared up really quick. Thanks for watching my videos. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to be updated on when I upload new videos, go ahead and subscribe.